Alright, who is ready to learn about a new smart lock? Now, this one is from Ultraloq, and they actually have over 1 million of these smart locks in America so far. This is one of their newer products, and this one is specifically a Z-Wave compatible device, which works with a lot of smart home hubs. I personally have Samsung Smart Things for my system, but they also make a Wi-Fi one, and that one is compatible with their app that works right out of the box. You don't need a hub or whatnot. For me personally, I want to tie this into my smart home automation, so I really want to take full advantage of the smart lock. But if you mainly want to be able to unlock and lock it with your app and have it learn fingerprints and do time of day stuff, and you can still set up different passcodes or passwords for guests to come and go certain times of day and whatnot with their Wi-Fi version. But with this Z-Wave one, I'm able to tie it into my smart home, and I can do things such as arm and disarm my alarm system, which is completely separate. I can have it turn on lights or turn off lights. I can have it turn on my HVAC, because all that stuff is tied into my smart home. So I'll touch on that a little bit later. Let's first take it out of the box, and then we'll get it installed in the door, and we'll show you how it all works here. But before we get too far, I gotta say, this is Nate, and this is the Nader Tater channel. I cover all kinds of things from tools, technology, and the outdoors. So be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy it. Alright, so let's look at what I just pulled out of the box. The main thing here is the inside unit, which has the knob there to lock and unlock from the inside, and then it has the battery compartment as well as the brains of the system is in here for the inside. The outside unit is obviously the keypad, and then in the center that is the fingerprint reader. So that's where you would put your fingerprint. And then this appears to be closed off, but there actually is a way you can pull the bottom of it out and then slide it up and rotate it, and that is what exposes the traditional key. So you can use a regular key as a backup if needed. They also do have down here a USB port that you can plug in, and that will give you power from the outside if, for example, you are away from home and the batteries died, which it would give you warnings if that were to happen. But still, if it did, you could actually plug in a USB cable here and give it power, so you could use that if you needed to. So what I will say is my first impression of this is that it is very sturdy, and that would go into its rating for lock security. There's different grades. I think it's 1, 2, 3, and 1 is actually the highest grade, and that is what this one is. Which means if you use these long screws that go into the door jamb, and you use the extra holes that go into the receiver there, that is what makes it the level 1 quality. It also means that it actually is tested, it has more durability, so you can use it more oftentimes without it breaking, and perhaps that goes to the lifetime warranty, mechanical warranty that it has. I think it's a 3-year on the electronics. Alright, and then we have this plate. This is what actually goes on the inside of the door that the main bolts go through to connect to the outside unit. We have the actual lock mechanism itself here, and now this one, like most of them that are out there, is able to rotate, and you can get the 2 different links that cover the standard offset of the lock versus the end of the door. So that's covered there. Here you have the part that goes into the door jamb with its corresponding plate there that gives a finished product look. And then they give you the screws and the keys, the backup keys that are in there. And then in here are the bolts that go through the door, as well as a reset key if you want to press and hold the reset button. And then the other thing they have in here is a little bit magnetic base, and this one is for the door sensor. So if you need this to know when the door is open and closed, then you'll set this up on the door and it can actually sense that. And what that allows it to do is, if the door is left open and it notices that the door is not closed, it can send you a warning. The other thing it can do is it automatically locks. If you wanted to, you can turn it off, but when you unlock it, you open the door and you close it, you can set it to go ahead and automatically relock once it notices that the door is closed. Okay, and so what else they give you is a standard set of alkaline batteries. These are AA size. I did go ahead and get their lithium ion batteries, so these ones are not rechargeable, but they are much higher capacity as far as energy that they have in there, so they're going to last a lot longer. I think it's kind of worth it to get something like this, so that you don't have to replace the batteries as often. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why I got the Z-Wave version. I can actually integrate the Wi-Fi version into my smart home as well, but Z-Wave, at least in the past, has typically been lower power usage, and so your batteries can last longer than the Wi-Fi. Now, I'm not positive if that's the case on this Ultraloq stuff. The new Wi-Fi stuff has gotten more efficient, and so perhaps it's still roughly equivalent nowadays. Alright, what else they give you is they actually give you a fairly nice screwdriver. It has both your Phillips bit that you need for all of their screws and bolts, as well as a small hex bit, which I'm not sure if that's used here or not, but it has that, and it's reversible to go in there. So if you don't have any tools, they give you really the only one you need, so long as you can manage to loosen your bolts that are in there right now. Lastly, they give you a instruction manual kit here that includes things like a door template for drilling. I'm not going to get into that. My door is already drilled, and I would say for most doors, this one should fit in the standard holes that you see in most of the USA for the doors that are out there. So I think really what we need to do is open up these, and we need to go to the door and get this guy installed, and then we'll see how to set it up. Alright, so I'm not quite sure if this door is going to work, but this is one of my doors I don't have an existing smart lock on. But you can see how tight of a fit it is even for a regular doorknob there with the width. Now if I look at this here, this is only slightly wider, so I'm hoping I can sneak it in there. If not, I'll have to put it on another door. So that's one thing to consider if you're going for any of these smart locks. Especially the inside unit is typically a lot bigger than just the regular round one, so you need to make sure you have space around it. So if we look here at this door, it's right at 4 inches from the edge of the door to there, and so that's how tight we'll see if this guy can fit. Alright, so that is the mechanical part done, and now I'm going to add the app to my tablet. Alright, so now I have my UTech app on Google Play that I'm going to download and install. Alright, so now I'm in the app. I set up my account. I'm going to click on this U-Bolt series. Alright, so now that I have the lock installed, I'm going to do the Z-Wave inclusion. So I just told it, yes, I want to include my device. And it says start the inclusion process on the lock before the SmartThings Hub. I have the advantage of having two devices here. Otherwise, you can flip between the apps while it's doing this. But read the instructions. You know, specifically in blue here, it says put the lock in inclusion mode before the hub. Otherwise, you'll get a pairing failure. So I'm going to start the inclusion here. It's going to need a code on the SmartThings app, and that's on the back side of the battery cover here. So let me just read this. Alright, so now I'm going to go to the hub interface, which is this guy, and I'm going to add a device. And then in here, just go in there and add a generic Z-Wave device. Click yes. And now it's getting everything ready. And I'm telling it where to put it now. Which room. So now it asks for me to get a QR code. It's on the back side here of the battery cover. Alright, so I did get it added to my SmartThings. I did run into an issue, and that's when my SmartThings asked for the QR code. When I scanned the QR code, it would not add the device securely for whatever reason. But right underneath the QR code on the back of this battery cover is a 5-digit number, and I just told it to manually type those in. Once I did that, it connected properly, and now I have the lock on my SmartThings, giving me a battery indicator as well as the lock and unlock. And now I can add it to my smart lock management to add different codes to it, and as well as integrate it with my lights and other devices there. So I can hit this button here to tell it to lock, and now it will lock. So it has a short 5-second or so delay. That's fairly typical for this SmartThings cloud-based stuff. So that now works and is integrated. Now let me go into the app and see what other things that the UTech things can do. Alright, so now back in the main page of the UTech app, I can go into here and see that it's locked. I can add people, and so that's what I want to do now. Is I want to add people. Now what's interesting here is it says I can sync users from a Z-Wave hub. So I'm going to try that and see what that will do, because I have users added to my other smart locks. So let's see if it just takes them and brings them in here. Alright, so now for my owner one, I'm going to add my fingerprint here. So I'm going to start adding a fingerprint. Alright, so now I added my fingerprint. Let's test it out real fast. It says success. So let me lock the door and just see if that works. There we go. Alright, so on here you can also see the history. Now again, this is kind of a duplicate thing for me, so I probably will not use the UTech app a lot because I will use the SmartThings things, but this shows me that. Let's see what else it shows me. This is just the lock and unlock button here, and then I can go into the the settings and add the user. This all looks fairly easy to do, and it's pretty straightforward. You know, the auto lock, auto unlock. Now, this is where you would have to add the sensor. This door actually has a hardwired alarm sensor that I can tell in my SmartThings whether or not it's opened or closed. So I can tie all that stuff in with my SmartThings. I don't need to add the little sensor here. If you don't have that, you would have to either use the double-sided sticky tape and add the magnet right here, or you could use the screw and put it right there. I don't want that little extra device, so I'm not going to do that there. Alright, so now I'm in my SmartThings. I'm going to the lock user management and see if this one automatically shows up in there. I think it should. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to manage my users. So I'm going to make sure, there we go. Now I need to check my deck door locks. Now I added that to my lock user management. And now I want to go in here and make sure that all of my different people are added to this. Okay, so I just saw there that I got an alert from SmartThings that, there we go, that some codes are added to my deck door. So it does take a little bit of time that these codes to get added to each of these locks. Once I let it do that, now it looks like all my users that I've set up before, and I told them to have access to all my locks, are now going to be added to it. Alright, well that's all there is to it. It does fit. If you didn't notice throughout this video, it is very tight up against this this trim around the window, but it does fit, so I'm actually pretty impressed. It's not really much bigger. It's slightly wider than the round of a standard doorknob, but that made me pretty happy that it does fit on this door, because this is really where I wanted it. So I'm going to keep testing it. You know, so far it looks really good. I'm pretty excited to have it. If you like it, you know, there are links to a discount in my video description that you can get, and that is a referral link. You know, Ultraloq did send this lock to me for this testing and review, but this is my honest opinion that I always do give. So thanks for watching and take care.